So last week, the fans wanted to make sure that we constantly were aware of the fact that Brockhampton collectively deleted their Twitters like before the whole thing went down.
That was my fault, obviously. I was misinformed. I'm glad people didn't read the comment section to see if someone had already let us know, because 80% of the comments are just reiterating the fact how misinformed we were.
It's the Goin Off podcast with Rap Critic and News, and we have a special fucking guest with us, Adrianxpression. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing well, and I'm happy to be here. I'm excited, and I'm ready to talk, because that's what I do best. I like to run my mouth.
We about to talk that shit. Now,
but see, what I was going off was, here is how I confused that. I just want to clear my name real quick. So, when the whole Kanye thing first started up, when he started doing his daily affirmation tweets, before shit really started to go off the deep end, right? I saw Kevin Abstract retweeting just about all of those tweets. Because, you know, they met on the Kanye fan board. Obviously, they're fucking fans, so that's fine. And then, how am I supposed to notice that I'm not seeing retweets and tweets? You know, like, unless I'm actively going to my follows, how am I supposed to realize that? Like, only when I heard the Ameer Vann thing did I finally start seeing tweets saying, hey, where did Kevin Abstract go? And that was the evidence that I saw. Now, sure, it was wrong evidence. But, in my defense, can I just say, what kind of shitty-ass Taylor Swift promotion is that to promote an upcoming release to just vanish off social media? How does that work?
I never like when artists do that. Because it's just like, what is the point? What is it supposed to accomplish? Ooh, this person's gone. Oh, how it, like, really interesting. Oh, the mystery.
Or make you miss them, you know? Like, because Nicki Minaj did that shit, didn't she?
See, at least with Taylor Swift, she deleted all her tweets, which didn't make sense either, but, like, that was taking that one step forward. All the Brockhampton dudes did, from what I can tell, is deactivate their pages, because then when they wanted to, they could just come back. But what kind of promotion is no promotion? All you did was tweet out the photo of the album cover and then disappear.
Because the thing is, you can not be online on Twitter and shit.
Yeah.
And, like, still have your account. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so what statement are you trying to make by deleting it? Because I'm assuming that after the album comes out, they're going to have their accounts back again.
Of course, because they need to promote it.
We're so busy in the studio that we wanted to deactivate our accounts to not even be tempted to go online. We didn't need the distraction.
I'm not
Is that
buying
it?
Not buying it. I am not buying that bullshit.
But,
Well, to paraphrase, it said that Ameer Vann was no longer in Brockhampton and that they were going to be canceling their upcoming tour dates. In a Facebook Live video, I believe it was, Kevin said that they would be pushing back the Puppy release date, which is not a surprise either. And, yeah, I mean, it's nothing nothing surprising out of the whole thing. Like, you got a founding member of the group who is going through his own shit, and you as a group, you're either gonna have to, like, I don't know what else anyone was expecting them to do. When we were talking about it, the only two options we had were kick him out or disband. Like, there was no moving on like nothing had happened. So, I know fans are gonna be super mad that they're not gonna get their precious album for a little longer, but, like, when you got situations like this, it's like I said in the show last time, like, new music is still coming out. Like, you can listen to something else in the meantime. I don't understand why it's like, this is more important than the lives of the people that have felt victimized by Ameer, or even the comfort of the group that are obviously going to need some time to recover from this.
Yeah, I just, for me, when I looked at a lot of the comments that were underneath it, I was like, what were y'all expecting to come from this? Especially when we have a lot of these situations already going on in mainstream, and we have, you know, people being taken down for, you know, ridiculous things they've done in the past. Like, what did y'all expect to come from
Exactly.
this?
And now, like, yeah, or they could do the really stupid thing, which people probably would have done like 20 years ago, which is, yeah, like, just ignore it and act like it'll just go away, you know? But it's just like, sorry, we're not in that time anymore. You can't do that shit, you know? Because we're on social media. People gonna keep asking you, yo, why is your boy still in the group? Y'all ain't even gonna, like, you know, talk about this. Now, one thing I kind of thought of was, it's like, yeah, they're kicking him out of the group, and I think for the group, that's what they need to do. Like, it's just like, yo, we need to sell these albums. We don't need someone who's an abuser on our team. Fuck you, get out. But I think on another level, it's kind of irresponsible in a way. And just follow me on this, because, like, Ameer Vann isn't gonna disappear. He's still the same person who did and may continue to do the same shit. So I just feel like, maybe not for me as a consumer, like, I don't need you to, you know, like, I would be fine with, yes, not supporting an abuser, but I would be even better, you know, if it was like, you saw him actually go through, like, a journey of, like, learning more about, you know, these issues and like, using his mistakes as a way to teach other people.
Well, I mean, I agree to an extent.
He can do that, like, yeah, he can do that on his own time. He can do that in his personal life. Maybe he can document it or document his journey or whatever, but he doesn't have to be associated with Brockhampton. Someone who probably was a victim of abuse or something, and looking at the group as whatever, and then Ameer's going to be on it all the time, that may be really triggering or really uncomfortable to see, like, wow, I really like this group, but this known abuser is still on it. But I see what you're saying, but, like, he can do the journey on his own. Like,
I did remember this vaguely, that he kind of addressed this a little in the lyrics of the songs, just being like, hey, I used to be a really fucking horrible person. So it's not unlike he's completely oblivious to this. So there's a very good chance that this is something that he is working on, or, you know, working towards trying to better himself. But with a group like Brockhampton, I can't think of a group that is more...
Exactly.
I guess,
I know what you're going to say.
like, you got... The so-called, I guess for lack of a better term, frontman is openly gay.
right.
Like, the online rumor is that 80% of the group is queer in one way or another.
That, like, there would be no place for him to fit in.
Right.
This is one of those groups that is more in tune with their audience. They have more of a social media interaction than most. The fans that gravitated to Brockhampton gravitated to them for more than the music, because they saw something that was missing, or, you know, there was a message that was being told. And when you're that group, and when you've got people devoted that hard, and people are watching you that closely, it's impossible to just be like, no, I mean, he's gonna be here in the background minding his own business, and he's gonna be on tour with us or whatever, but we're gonna keep a close eye on him. Like, that's impossible.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Did you see the video from the recent show this past weekend?
I did not.
They were doing a show, and part of the song came on that was like a sample, like where none of them were rapping, and Joba just kind of like hugs. I couldn't tell who from the video, but like he was pressed his face into the guy's chest and was just openly crying. And you can see the other dudes in the group just kind of like hands on their hips, looking at the floor like, why the fuck did we even do this tonight? Like, we should have fucking canceled this shit weeks back. I don't know what the hell we're trying to do out here.
Damn.
Yeah, I think it's the smart move. I know it's not gonna make everyone happy, but I mean, like we said last time, it isn't for you. Like, they got to deal with this. It's not up to them to make sure the audience is happy 100% when they've got their own personal shit that they've got to deal with.
Yeah, and I going back to what you said, like, that group represents so much for people, and the fact that they were able to see a group that kind of was positioned away from the usual, you know, fucked up shit that a lot of musicians,
right.
You know, they were positioned in such a way that there was no way for a known abuser to be on it, like, because those were
So moving on, because I feel like that's the extent of what we could say. It's like, move the fuck on, like, sorry, Ameer, sorry. That's fucked up.
God.
Well, I'm sure he'll go his own personal journey, and maybe he'll become a better of person, or not. He'll be an asshole, and it'll literally not affect my life in any way. But moving on, I want to talk about my boy Adrian X.
Yeah, what's up?
On the podcast.
Yeah,
I wanted to talk, if you don't mind, about your sort of persona and the sort of stuff you've been doing. So the first thing I wanted to ask is, as a YouTuber, like, what made you start doing videos and stuff?
Wow. Okay, here I go about to talk. As a young gay black man, just like growing and living, it was difficult to find spaces where I fit in, And so, growing up, I used to watch a bunch of shit online. Like, damn, like there are people out there living their lives like essentially like how I wanted to, and at that time I couldn't. But so I guess YouTube is kind of a way to acknowledge what online media has done for me, and a way to give back, And I just felt like my personality was just too off the wall to do, I guess you can say, quote unquote, normal things. And I knew that somehow, some way I would end up entertaining someone or doing something. I don't know what was going to happen, but that's kind of how I got into it.
So I actually wanted to talk about your book that you put out. You've recently been promoting in your videos. Uncharted Territory, the second collection of raw poetry.
Yes.
What was the inspiration for that? Like making a book for Amazon like that?
There were a lot of things I wanted to say, and I didn't know how to say it. And I think a lot of people would, I don't know. So poetry was just like my outlet, and I was just like, what do I do with all this shit? Like, there was like notes and notes and notes in my phone of poetry and shit, just like things that would just come to me, and it's like, oh, I just need to write it down, start writing. And so I was like, what do I do with it? What do I do with it? And, as I got, I guess a bigger audience in what I was doing, I was like, let me just put it out. And there are a few people who like it and stuff. And so I'm happy about that, because I know some people can relate to that shit. So.
Yeah. Okay. So was it put in a certain order, like on purpose?
That is such an interesting question, because sometimes I feel like, yes, I'm such an artsy
as I was
person.
Reading it, there were certain points where I was like, oh, I see what he's doing.
Yes, I feel like in certain instances, I'm such an artsy ass person, just like, oh, I don't know, my art, just interpret it how you mean. But like, I feel in certain areas, yeah, there was a reason why one came after the other. But I'm not gonna say like, oh, it was put in order, like all
right,
of it.
I got you. Yeah. Specifically, I think you know which two.
Yeah, I know which ones you about to talk about. I know exactly which ones you about to talk about. So go ahead.
Fuck.
Oh.
And masterpiece.
Oh God. Okay, I knew you were gonna talk about that shit. Fuck.
Guys, I mean, this is totally the reason why you guys need to check this out, because I don't want to spoil it too much. But it goes into some detail. And I was like, at first, like me as, cis, whatever the fuck, I'm reading this shit, and I'm just like, oh shit, homie Wallen.
I would have told you about that shit if you asked me, nigga. I would have said that shit. I would have told you about that shit.
But on another level, I was like, I actually was able to appreciate it, because I was like the one right before this was about, was fuck, and man, that one was fucking hard. So, you have this next one, it goes into so much like sort of detail about your relationship with a person, and then you have I think it was the next song where you,
you might as well call it that, right? Oh man, the next one.
What was that one? Oh, Life. Yeah, and so like after that, when it just sort of starts to just like go into the explanation of like your character in a way that makes the sort of because in a couple of the poems, I'm trying to find a way to say this without really giving it away.
No, it's fine. It's fine. We're here to talk about it anyway. We're here to talk about it.
Well, basically, Masterpiece is very sexual. So no one under 18, or specifically under 18, because of course we have to rebel. But yeah, it's very explicit sort of poetry talking about his relationship with a person, and the detail that he goes into. Like at first it feels very crass, where you're just like, oh man, he wallet, but then it's just like, wait, this is about more than that. This is about like a connection, and then when the other poems sort of like give you the full character of who you are. It makes it so much more than just, you know, the description and the language. It's about the connection, you know. And so I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, thank you. I'll tell you, I can tell you where like the inspiration from Masterpiece came from. It's very corny and very gay, but it's Beyonce. I saw
Nice.
Yeah, I saw Partition and I was like, that shit is fucking sexy. I was like, God damn. And I was like, it brought me back to I don't know, I felt like that type of like sexual energy is just, it was just pure as fuck. Just like, I want to just eat you fucking up right now. And I was just like, it brings me back to like the times when I wanted to eat, like just go crazy on somebody, but like my gay ass couldn't in the moment. You know what I mean? Niggas getting chopped up for holding hands, you know? So I couldn't, so it was just like about repressed energy just being released all of a sudden. And that's why I waited until the end of that poem to just go all out, just like, it's just, you know.
And it's so well done. Like, I really want people to read this shit, and specifically because of afterwards how it talks about, so, you know, you talk about your dad leaving before, and or him not being there, and then you talk about the persecution that you had for, you know, being gay, and it's just like, you know, I don't know about anyone else reading it, but like I was just sort of like, isn't this fucked up that it's just like, wait, his dad leaves and he's not chastised for the rest of his fucking life for that?
Nope.
But because you love someone, there's a problem.
Yeah.
Because, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, because you mentioned how it's like family turning away from you. It's like, oh, so your family turns away from you for this, but how come that motherfucker ain't in jail right now for fucking leaving his kid? You know what I'm saying? It's just like,
and
I really connected with that. So,
and I don't usually talk about my father a lot, but he didn't leave us physically. He was just never there emotionally. And then what was, you know, supremely disrespectful is that he acted like he didn't understand emotions and shit, but was able to be emotionally abusive to everyone in that house. So like, don't come to me saying you don't know how to interact with a motherfucker when you are manipulative, because you know how to interact with bitches. You know how to do it. So it's just, in which way do you want to do it? And there was there was someone who emailed me and Justin's podcast. We do For the Culture podcast.
Shout it out, man. This is the place to do it.
Yeah, fortheculturepodcast.com. But someone emailed me or emailed us and was just talking about their experience, almost the same thing they had with their own father. And I was saying, he was saying, should I give him another chance? Whatever. I was like, you spent years and you're trying to convince someone to love you, and there's nothing more, you know, dehumanizing than that. Trying to convince someone to love you. So I guess I'm not trying to be depressing and shit, but like all of that kind of goes into the art that I create. Just taking into account all that shit.
No, I think it's awesome because, you know, in a way, someone was talking about Childish Gambino and how like we kind of bleed for our art. So it's like our things that are imperfect, are things that are, you know, declarative, and maybe not everyone might be on board with it, but it's just like you say it and you put it out there because it's like, this is what I need to express.
Right.
You know, and if people take issue with it, or if people are like, you know, want to talk about it, then that's good. Like, you want people to react, you want people to engage. You know what I'm saying? And you know, if they respond negatively to it, then it's just like, all right, what's your reason for it? If you just some hating ass, you know, homophobic motherfucker, then fuck you. But if at the same time you're like, oh, you know, maybe someone's like, hey, here's how you could do this, or, you know, like, that really inspired me and this is what I did from it. Because like you said, you were inspired by Partition, so it's just like artists inspiring artists. So that's what I like, you know, just seeing stuff like that, you know.
Yeah, definitely that. But I like to shake people up. I like to say things that everyone's thinking but no one wants to say. Like, that's the type of person I am. Just very like, I don't like pink elephants. Let's talk about it. Stop beating around it. But that's the directly to the point. That's the type of person I am.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed that from the YouTube videos. Darren hooked me up with him a few days ago when he messaged me and was like, "Hey, we got Adrian hooked up for the booked for the show. You know, check out his stuff." And since then, I've seen every video that has come out since.
Wow,
and it is just,
that's awesome.
Like, on the Goin Off podcast, we have an expression, gonads, which is going off, never a dull second. that definitely applies to your videos. There is like not a second in
breathe.
between to either like breathe, or it is so full force, and it's just, I love how like I'm just talking because I just now saw your stuff for the first time like last week. I love how you're looking at these videos and you're looking at the title, and it's like, all right, this is probably going to be like 3 maybe things. And it's like, you get to the third thing and it's like, I'm not done though, because I got this. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. I'm just going to settle in and hear what he's got to say, because he's talking that shit. He's going off, which is awesome. And it's just like you said about the pink elephants and everything. The big thing I've been picking up from your videos is the going after your faves, which is fucking, I love that. I love
straight
that.
Up and down. You, like, I can see you having, like, a fucking empire just based off of merchandise with the fucking sayings that you
I'm actually trying to figure that out, but, like, slow and steady wins it. So I want to make sure, like, I make moves that are, like, legit and right. But, like, yeah, I don't like beating around the bush. And the reason why, I know my tongue is sharp. Like, I know that some of the shit that I say will have you clutching your chest like, what the fuck did this nigga
When you go on Trump, bro, I can't take it. He said mashed potato in the face. Look at that. I'm like, no!
No, but yeah, so I know some of the shit I say is very, like, it's hard. Like, it's hard on the ears, but, like, it's centuries worth of, like, fucking us over that I'm like, nah. Y'all gonna get this work. Yeah, like, you gonna hear this shit. It's gonna make you uncomfortable, yeah. And I'm not here to make anybody uncomfortable. And the thing is that I make myself uncomfortable too. You know what I mean? I can't hold people to a standard and not want to continue to educate myself as well, or think that I know everything. Like, I have to continue to, like, be aware of certain things. Like, even, you know, I'm a gay man, but I'm still, you know, a man at the end of the day. But there's certain issues that women have to face that I don't have to face either. So, you know what I mean? Like, I'm constantly learning.
For sure.
Constantly learning.
The one thing I really enjoy about your videos is that you talk about, you know, celebrity stuff as well as political stuff, and you make both equally entertaining. There never feels like a point where it's like, oh, he's talking about, you know, Michael Flynn this, so I'm not gonna watch that. No, I'm just like, I want to hear what he has to say about this too.
I really appreciate that, because I used to hate politics. It's so boring to me, so boring. And so I know there are a lot of people like that. So I try, like, it's politics at the end of the day, but I try to make it so that people who honestly need the information the most, and that's including me, people who need the information the most are able to consume it in a way they can understand, you know? Like, my goodness. It's hard to find that sometimes.
Yeah, I do feel like a lot of times news sort of obstructs the reality of what's happening in the news story for the sake of for the sake of trying to look neutral.
Yes.
But it's just like, some of the things you bring up, it's just like, yeah, no, this is completely wrong, and this is obviously racist, and someone needs to fucking call this shit out and quit acting like, oh, well, here's the new policy that came forward, and it will do this. It's like, no, this is fucking people over.
A bunch of corporate talk. You know? A bunch of corporate talk.
The difference that I love is that there are so many people out there who, like so many of the big names on TV and late night, are doing the, I'm an entertainer, but I'm going to talk about politics for a little bit, and you never get from them the sense that they understand the weight of
what they're
going on.
about.
Like,
right.
Like, you could watch The Daily Show, but at the end of the day, it's just a comedy show. Fucking Samantha Bee, it's just a comedy show. Up until the election, I was able to watch those no problem. Afterwards, it was like, this is a fucking real threat now.
Yeah,
we can't be just fucking, you know,
laughing,
making little punchline shit.
Yeah,
so when I'm watching yours, you're able to still bring the humor out in your personality into the topic, but you're not discrediting it, you're not putting it aside. You're like, no, seriously though, this needs to be paid attention to. We can't be sleeping on this, and that's great.
Right. Well, thank you. thank you. But yeah, that I'm glad that it has come across like that, because that's the whole point of what I'm doing. Like, everybody, yeah, of course, everybody wants to make a career, everyone wants to make money, blah blah blah, but like, these things are affecting us, and they will continue to do so. So if no one is talking about it in a way that, you know, makes people feel comfortable to you know, change, to go out and change something, even if it's just to research something, even if it's just to Google something or learn something new about, you know, a different culture or something that you did not even come across your mind, even if it's just to get them to do that. That's what I want to do.
I don't even mean this in like a negative way, but I just wanted to ask, like, when you record, before you sit down and edit it down, like, how long is like the raw file before you chop it down?
Ooh, okay, so we getting into... Okay, so I don't record everything all in one take. If I feel like...
Ooh.
Oh yeah, I don't. If I feel... So I'll take certain topics and talk about it, bam, 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 bam. If I feel like, okay, I need to sit my ass down for a second, take 2 seconds, literally like 2 seconds, press stop, and start again. So like, I don't go through it straight. Now on the I mean, I can, because I've done it.
It totally looks like you do. You just ruined that illusion for me.
No, a lot of certain videos I do, certain videos I don't. I'm not gonna sit here and lie and say I record all that shit in one take. No, but I mean, I can though, because I've done that in my live streams, and I just talk, and I mean, I'm doing it right now. So I mean, I record it in one sitting. I'm saying that, like, if I feel like, okay, I need to switch,
okay,
I record it in one sitting. Like, I'm standing up right there recording. But like, if I'm stuttering too much, I'm like, let me just stop the fucking recording and just like stop. If I'm stuttering too much, or my fucking gay ass list just takes over, I'm just like, okay, wait a minute, let me just redo it. There have been a couple times, I mean, this happens often, where I'm just like, I record half a video, or I'll even record a full video, and I'll sit down and edit it, and I'll be like, this shit sucks. And I
hate that.
I delete the whole thing. Or I'll be like halfway through recording a video, like, this shit sucks, and I'll just wait a whole nother day to do it. Like, it's such an interesting, like, complex process. I'm sure every creator knows this. I'm sure every creator has something like that. We're just like, you're your own, like, worst critic, you know?
I was trying to work on this article for this new site I'm trying to post for, and I wrote this article, and it was supposed to be about Childish Gambino, and I was trying to use the metaphor of Infinity War to sort of explain what was happening in, you know, like, what I was trying to say about This Is America, and then I realized, like, 5 pages in, I've just been talking about Infinity War, and I was like, fuck, I can't use this now.
That shit is so annoying, but like, but it honestly should, like, empower us, because it just means that we are taking our shit seriously, you know? Like,
being self-critical really does facilitate you making better art.
Yeah,
you know? So yeah, don't feel bad about being self-critical. You know what I'm saying? Because yeah, just know that eventually you gotta put it out.
Yeah. There have been times where I'm just like, you need to just get over it. Just put it out. Get over it.
Right. It's just going to have to be wrong. Sorry.
But yeah.
We have got to talk about Darren, your girl.
What? Oh, my girl.
Darren, do me a favor. Get your girl Roseanne.
Oh, I can't wait to talk about. That's gonna be so fun.
Okay, so I'm sorry. Like, I already know people may be like clenching their fists over the Ameer break. They're gonna be pissed about this break. Fucking let them.
Yeah,
I was so goddamn happy to see that in like 4 or 5 hours time, you go from, I'm gonna make this really quick throwaway racist as fuck joke, as a veteran comedian in the industry for like 30 some odd years, I'm gonna just jump on Twitter and say something blatantly
really
racist,
stupid,
think nothing of it,
and everything comes tumbling down.
and then by the afternoon, have your show and possibly your entire career just gone. Funny how that happens.
Yeah.
Funny, but it's like people have been pointing out that, yeah, like, people are so quick to praise ABC for all this. It's like, you gave her the fucking reboot knowing she was transphobic, knowing she was racist. Like, you could just go through her fucking Twitter, and it's like, not even like there's this whole thing which we're not even gonna quote directly, or at least I'm not. But only a few hours before, she's going on this whole big, like, conspiracy theory that George Soros was like a Nazi, and it's like, that's all right. We're just gonna let that fly. But this one thing, it's like, this is so overdue. But it's amazing where, for a network, where the line has to be. You know?
That's
like,
the most disappointing.
This is finally too far.
That's the most disappointing to me, because if you remember, ABC was the one who was like, "Oh, this episode of Blackish about, you know, taking the knee and stuff, we're gonna block it." And I think Disney, I don't know, Disney, ABC, they connected, right? I think Disney owns ABC or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, Disney owns ABC.
Owns everything. I think they're the same company who barred Jamel Hill for speaking out.
Yup.
So it really shows you that the people at the top have a certain standard versus society, you know, people in society who may not have as much power as the people at the top. They're operating on a different, some of them, a lot of them, enough of them are operating on a different playing field, you know what I mean? And so when those two collide, they're just like, no, I'm saying when those two collide, it's just, they have to respond, because they won't be making any money.
Exactly. And that's what it comes down to.
Money.
It's like, at the end of the day, if you want anything to change, they are not going to be like, "Oh, she's racist. You know what? You're right. Let's do the right thing."
Nope.
No, they're going to be, "Well, how long can we get away with this before it starts affecting our money?"
Our profits.
That's always what it is.
Right. And once people...
And you know what's great? Throughout this whole thing, Trump was using Roseanne as a sort of, like, home away from home, being like, "Hey, you know what? Well, I'm not saying my shit to you guys. You can check out Roseanne on her Twitter or her show," and it's basically the same thing. And he was bringing her up in the rallies and all that, using her for cheap heat like she used Kanye. But just like Kanye, when things get a little out of hand, he turns his back. Just today, the press secretary was asked what Trump's feelings were on Roseanne being canceled, and now all of a sudden he has bigger things to worry about, and he's focused on North Korea trade. So I wonder how that feels when just a few months back, or even weeks ago, I don't even know how long ago it was, Trump was tweeting about how happy he was that Roseanne was seeing such great ratings, and now he can't even be fucking bothered with you. Like, everything just swept out right from under you. And it's like, I just don't understand how even, like, I'm trying to wrap my head around, because as someone who never really gave Roseanne the time of day, never fucked with her like that in any sort of way, thought for the longest time, because I remember, I think it was during I think she voted for Obama, but then switched to, like, the Green Party. So for me specifically, when the show got when the 10th season went on, that's when the tweets came to my attention, and I was like, "Oh, Jesus!" Like, I never even knew any of this was happening. I didn't know she was saying any of this.
Yeah.
But when I dig deeper into it, she's apparently been a terrible person, like, since the show was on the first time in the late 90s.
Yeah.
So
Right from the jump.
So from when I see people like, man, I feel so bad for John Goodman and all these people. John Goodman was my boy. You don't understand. I loved him in the Coen Brothers movies. I had no problem, no beef with John Goodman. Doesn't even have a Twitter because he's staying out of that business. He fucking knew what he was getting himself into with this show. He could have said no. He left the show in the last season because he didn't like working with Roseanne's ass anymore.
Damn.
But now all of a sudden the money's right, and he's back on the set. So it's like, no, I don't feel bad for any of those fuckers. Like, I feel bad for the people who, like, the cast, like the crew, like the behind-the-scenes folks.
Yeah.
It's just a job to them, you know? Like, they don't fucking have any vested interest. To them, it's just, hey, I'm just working a rig, I'm working a camera.
No one's gonna give a shit that the gopher doesn't want to do, the episode because...
Exactly.
Yeah.
But, like, I saw someone on Twitter say it so... They put it so good. They said, who would have guessed that a racist hired to play a racist on TV would end up to be racist? Like, this shouldn't be a surprise to anybody.
And I'll go back to what you said about, like, Donald Trump turning his back on people and stuff like that. And I think that a lot of people who, I don't know, I think a lot of people kind of think that aligning with power will kind of make them immune to stuff like that. And it never works because people at the top are only concerned about themselves. So if anything that you do or are goes against them getting money, they're gonna or you know, they're gonna drop you. And so I mean, when you think about someone like Wanda Sykes, who was a producer on the show, and now before anyone could
what?
Yep.
I saw she was a writer or producer.
I'm ready. A producer on that show. Before anyone was able to, before anyone was able to look at that paperwork and find, before somebody on Twitter was able to find that shit out, she went ahead and put a preemptive tweet out and saying that she's no longer working with them. And so I'm just like, yeah, you put that out before you get roasted. It's just
exactly.
You put that out quick.
About to be on their ass.
You see how a lot of people didn't know that. She knew that was about to be on her ass. And so that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, you may be getting paid for a specific job, but first of all, how long is it going to last? Second of all, does your boss respect you as a person? I'm not talking about people.
And
people
then what's going to happen from that?
Well, yeah. What? Now I'm just like I'm side eyeing.
Yeah, exactly. Because who wants to work with Wanda Sykes now? I don't fucking want to work with her because it's like, oh, you willing to turn a blind eye for that check though?
Yeah. So
you know.
I think people see the money or whatever, see money. Oh, it's shiny, it's pretty, it's right there in front of my face. And the more you sacrifice, the harder it is for you to be able to come back to who you want to be or who you were. And so.
Definitely. I think that's how a lot of people fall down a path of sort of like, because you allow the first thing. And you're like, well, I'm just letting that go.
Yeah.
Racist person on my TV show.
Yeah, whatever.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it only builds from there until what happens is, I feel like that's, like, when I watch a lot of people in Hollywood try to justify, like, Roman Polanski, all these type of cats, they always seem to have that sort of sense of, I have to, like, deep down, you can sort of see the way they're communicating. They're like, I have to say this because I'm already invested with this person for like 20 years now. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're fucking Whoopi Goldberg when she came out defending Roman Polanski. I know it's completely irrelevant and like not relevant now, but like, no, we're not gonna forget about that.
Yeah.
Shit. Like, what the fuck was that shit about? And because I remember there were other people calling that out. I think it was like Chris Rock or something, or Jamie Foxx or something. He was just like, what the fuck is up with this?
Yeah.
Why are you guys cool with this shit and not this other shit, you know?
Yeah.
And it's funny you mentioned Bill Cosby because I remember Whoopi came out and defended Cosby as well.
Oh my god!
Roseanne is already getting the Bill Cosby treatment as Paramount Network, TV Land, and CMT have all pulled the reruns, so she's not even getting those royalty checks.
Jesus!
So this shit is hitting hard and fast.
On Patreon or whatever the fuck.
Oh jeez, man!
Patreon?
When the fucking poster boy of your website is getting investigated for hate crimes, you know you're doing it. You know you're doing something.
It's like, dude, just stop being racist. Is this shit really that hard? Like,
It's
you barely talk to black people anyway.
Just shut your mouth. That's it.
After she fucked up so bad, I looked into it. The first few seasons of Roseanne in the late 80s, early 90s, she was pulling in, like, in the ratings, like, first, second, third, and fourth, like, one of the top-rated shows. The last season, she was 35th.
Whew.
And according to this news article that is dated the week before the final episode aired, it even says she's yelling at cast members and writers. Roseanne is one of the worst shows to work for, as far as like a workplace.
Right.
So for ABC to even give her another try, give her another chance, after what has she done since then besides get roasted on Comedy Central to even be like remotely relevant, for them to stick their necks out and give her a chance, and for her to just go on Twitter and just blow it, it's like, you had it so good.
I'm gonna tell you why.
They had no reason to fucking reboot your show.
I'm gonna tell you why.
Nobody was asking for Roseanne to come back.
I promise.
And you fucked it up.
I'm gonna tell you why.
Help being racist.
It's because it's the same thing. I don't know if you remember when a couple months ago the creators of Game of Thrones were talking about they wanted to fucking make a show called Confederate or some shit.
Oh yeah, that's
So,
right. Yeah.
so I'm gonna tell you, I think that that companies, they ain't stupid. They see the extreme divide in the country. They see the divide and they say, oh, you know what? We can probably cater to both audiences. We can give these niggas Blackish or whatever the fuck these niggas want, and then we can bring on a Roseanne reboot. We have both. You see what I'm saying? So
definitely, I've seen that. Have you been to like a Books a Million lately?
I have not.
Oh
You-
yeah.
Yeah, you see the what was that book that
Fire and Fury?
Yeah, you see that book right next to the Trump is a great guy and God loves him. You know, and I'm just like, this just makes me want to leave your bookstore because you look like you have no conviction.
They
You know what
don't.
I'm
A lot of
saying?
companies do. I mean, we all know they don't. They have a conviction to money. That's it. So if they feel like they can make
Yeah.
money off of both audiences, then they're going to make content for both audiences. I mean, that's just it. But the thing is, they don't take into account the progression of society and that the fact that a lot of times we won't take there. You can get away with some bullshit, but like once shit to hit the fan, it's over with. So yeah, I really think the divide is making these companies try to focus on the fact that they have two audiences there they can try to cater to, but one is going to be on the wrong side of history.